it's a very human and relatable story. I love taking this larger, more fantastical idea of a man who is invisible and terrorizing this woman, something that is seemingly impossible and something that is, you know, either sci-fi or horror, whatever it is, and marrying that with an incredibly human story of a woman who is trying to recover who she was and trying to find her voice and trying to speak out about something and not be judged for it or hit for it, whether literally or metaphorically. And I think that, to me, that the marriage of those two in this film is what I love about it and what I'm proud of. I am kind of attracted to characters that are believe in something against all odds, and Cecilia, that thing in her that just won't give up on the idea that this is true, and she is going to find him, and she's going to prove that it's true. I just think is really compelling and inspiring. There's James, played by Aldis Hodge, and he is an old friend. He's a police officer. She's who she goes to when she escapes Adrian and the relationship in Adrian's house. And he kind of takes her in. And it's all arranged, you know. Her sister picks her up, played by Harriet Dyer, and she takes her to James's house. Sydney is there, who's played by Storm Reid, and that is a safe space for her. That is a place that she is able to hopefully be recovering from this abusive relationship. And unfortunately, it ends up becoming a nightmare in itself. She works in architecture. She has a degree, you know, she's successful, ambitious, loves what she does. She's a person who, you know, studied in Paris, and she actually had a life and a personality of her own. Once she gets into the relationship with Adrian, that is slowly chipped away at, psychologically, emotionally, and physically, until she doesn't know who she is anymore. She is only what he wants her to be. Whether it's the way that she looks or the way that she talks, the way that she acts, whatever it is, she is purely there to be of service to him. And he kind of cuts her off from everybody, and she's alone. And it's very, very common in abusive relationships or toxic relationships. And so coming out of that, she's a very different person. She's very damaged and fragile and pretty broken and terrified. And she starts out that way, and then it just kind of gets worse. I mean, Lee and I are tremendous fans of this genre. We both love it and love to be scared and love that feeling, and we wanted to do justice to that. I always kind of wanted to do a really good horror film, a really good scary movie. And this was so the perfect one because it actually had like a very interesting story that I was really attracted to. But I remember saying to each other on our first phone call, we were like, the number one thing is this has to be scary. One of the things Lee wanted to do, which I loved, was that he put in all the little horror tropes. So, you know, when the medicine cabinet opens and then it closes and you expect somebody to be back there. We did all of that, except there's nobody there. Like, did the same thing with the refrigerator door. Everything, then put all these little tricks in, but it doesn't actually happen. But building that suspense was really, really fun. We did the classic, like, walking down the hallway scene, one shot, you know, where the camera comes around and you've seen the door closed previously, and when the camera comes around, now the door's open. Like, that kind of stuff was so much fun to do. Just loud noises, you know, things like that, like turning on a light in a dark room and revealing that shape in the corner is actually a coat rack. All that stuff that you see in horror movies was so fun to actually just be a part of.
So when the audience is introduced to James and Cecilia, this is at a point where Cecilia is going through, you know, this sort of, she's dealing with the aftermath of her experience, you know, having been in the relationship she was in, the abusive relationship she was in. So James is really just trying to help her out. He's really trying to be there, be a good friend to her. I think being a police officer, he has an empathetic sense about these things, so he might be a little bit, confident coming to this, thinking that he's well equipped to do the job, not knowing what he's about to step into. A really key element I think that Lee has tapped into the personal, level is with Cecilia, he gets to exhibit this woman who is really finding her own strength, coming out of a rough situation, having to challenge it head on, and then she has to figure out who she is in that space. And she has to fight for herself through it. And that's what I love. I love stories about fighters and people who really have to dig down deep inside of themselves and challenge the biggest fear that I think we all have, which is ourselves. It's nothing external, it's always internal. And that's something that Cecilia has to do, is get to a place where she really understands. I mean, she's going through something that nobody can understand. It's just her. She's alone. And that loneliness is crippling, but some way she figures out how to really fight for who she is and what she wants out of this. And I think it's a beautiful thing to see. It's a really cool way to show it, too, with the fact that we're doing this, horror, action, thriller type of thing. So when the audience sees it, I feel like they're going to have a lot of fun watching it, but at the same time, they're going to kind of get to appreciate the idea of personal inner strength. Our fight scenes are insane because of the way that Lee is shooting them. Stunt team is crazy, but visually, his camera movements, his style, and you'll see it when you see the film, but I think that is what people are really going to take away from this being different, because of the way it just comes off visually is something that I have never seen before in the horror or thriller genre. Elisabeth Moss, she's awesome. Obviously fan of her prior work. It's really cool because she's so dialed into this character, Cecilia. She really understands what it is. And then, like, even the other day we were shooting a scene and she wanted to add a little something to make it just that much creepier, and it worked. So she's really, I think, locked into what journey this character is on from start to finish. And obviously she's the perfect person to play this role. Storm, she's so smart, she's dialed in, she's very respectful and mannerable, and she's also very aware and doesn't take anything for granted. She's not like the, spoiled diva too, none of that. She really understands, where she's at, and it's really great to see because she's so young and then so successful in the game, but all I can see is just the future going up, up, up for her. And it's really impressive to see, and it's refreshing. So, and she's a great actress as well. So I'm really happy and also honored to be working with her.
I was literally in my kitchen reading the script. My mom was cooking dinner, and I was on the edge of my seat, and my mom had read it before me, and I'm like, Mom, what is happening? What is going on? And she wouldn't say a word. She just said, just finish it. So I was forced to read it very fast, but I just love that not only is this story entertaining, but it does have a female protagonist at the center of it trying to save herself and get out of these circumstances where we usually see movies and you have to rely on a person or a male figure to help you out, but she's really just betting it all on herself and really trying to get herself out of these situations. And I love that she's super duper smart, and even though she does have her moment, she does try to find the light in the darkness. So I was just geeked when I finished reading the script. Miss Elisabeth is great. Even though she does carry a lot of heavy scenes and it is very emotional for her, I'm so amazed how she's able to just turn that off, and she's really able to separate herself from the character, and even though she embodies Cecilia so well, and she's just a big jokester, and we love to joke around and talk about food and fashion shows, so she's great to work with.
Oh, yeah. Where is the buzz you said was mine?
Where is the buzz?